recently I had started up a new story. Another one based upon a dream of mine. This one is a bit more action-oriented. So we start out with these two girls, they're friends, Sasha and Maddie. And they're part of a group, a band. So they're headed out to a competition and end up in this one city. I believe I called it Molchia. They're all assigned their rooms at this hotel where all the band members are staying at. That night, well, they decide later to go down, get some food. Maddie insults the director because Maddie's just a bit rude. We also get to see Sasha's a bit of a gamer. Maddie doesn't really care. Although she's surprisingly good at strategizing for somebody who doesn't like playing games. She even helps out Sasha in this one game she's playing. Some real-time RPG. Then the next day, after some rest, they are headed out to go shopping. The director is putting them in groups to go shopping. So Sasha and Maddie are put in a group with these two characters named Ryan and Ian. And Maddie just hates them because of how arrogant they are about gaming. Well, she sees them as arrogant. They just seem like casual people who like games. Maddie, Sasha, Ryan, and Ian are heading out through the marketplace. They first stop at this art gallery. There's a whole bunch of paintings of monsters and snakes and sculptures as well. And there they find that they can't pay because it's too much money. And the host just says, guys, just go away. Before they go, however, Maddie is able to touch one of the ceramics outside. Then they just head out to another shop, do whatever, don't see many interesting things. And then as they're leaving, they see that guy who hosted the gallery just running away, chased by this monster guy, like this big ape kind of man, with horns and goat-like qualities as well, which is amazing to see, right? Some police officers came by, asked them about it, then let them go on their way, and there were some witnesses who didn't see much. They went on their way, they did some other things, like they went to a gun shop because Ryan really wanted to go in there. Later, they returned back to the hotel and had this wonderful meal. And there, Sasha and Maddie could talk with their actual friends, Penny and Lily. There they found out that Penny and Lily had seen the exact same monster. But they didn't think much of it, they just saw it running by. Well, Sasha and Maddie found it a bit odd, but they continued eating their meal. That was until they heard a bunch of screaming in the rest of the hotel. The director looked out of the dining room and saw that there was this giant snake quickly slithering through the building. All the students gathered together to build up a bunch of chairs so that the snake couldn't get into the dining room. Well, they failed because the snake got into the dining room. And what did it do? It grabbed Maddie for some reason and left. That is all it did. And she's chasing after the snake. The snake keeps getting farther and farther away, but Sasha is still running after it, hoping that she'll get Maddie. She's stopped by the two police officers from earlier who insist, hey, everything's going to be fine. You don't have to worry about this. We'll take care of it. No, just recording a video. Then the more courageous officer goes off to look for Maddie while the more shy one tries to take Sasha home, but Sasha tricks her into letting her go off to the mountain where the snake went. And so Sasha is heading to the mountains to find Maddie. She climbs all the way up, and there she finds this great plain on the top of this mountain, strangely enough. Bunch of monsters there, which she's able to fight, I suppose. They're pretty weak. But eventually she gets the attention of this one lady in some castle in the distance. That lady's like, okay, send a big monster after her. So now Sasha has a problem fighting this monster. But don't worry, nearby is this one town in the mountains, this magical town. A bunch of people get out, like this rude guy named Tom, and the leader of the village is this one lady named Shelby, who for some reason thinks it's a good idea to save Sasha. Well, that's good. Good that she's a nice person, I suppose. So they get all the townspeople together and use their magic to teleport Sasha to the town square. And then they send a whole bunch of soldiers off to kill that monster. They start questioning Sasha, and she explains that she is determined to find her friend Maddie. And Shelby's like, oh, okay, fine, let's go find her. We don't know about this. Let's go save her and all that. You can come along too. So Tom is just saying to Shelby, she's inexperienced and she's probably going to die. Well, Shelby trusts that Sasha won't. And luckily for her, Sasha can take care of herself, I suppose. She's a band geek, a bit of a gamer, and she can fight! Wonderful! So, the town heads out to the castle. The villain that they suspect Maddie and a few other people are probably in. Held hostage right now. Or something like that. Though this villain doesn't seem to want to acknowledge it at all or tell anyone, because that's sort of what this villain does. So the town heads off to the castle. The villain's name is Esmatra. And as they're heading out to Esmatra's castle, on their way they find Natalie, that one policewoman that stopped Sasha earlier. Tom talks to her and asks why she didn't explain the whole situation to him. Natalie doesn't really bother to explain very well. Natalie basically explains that she thinks she could have just done it on her own. Well, whatever. They just head out to the castle together. The townspeople, Tom, Natalie, and Sasha fight out a whole bunch of monsters, and yes, surprisingly, Sasha can hold out her own against all these guards. They get to the top. Sasha fights out some more monsters, though she starts struggling. However, she remembers the advice that Maddie had given her about her game with finding patterns. Then they head in, they have to fight this huge monster. She's probably going to die if she tries to fight that. So the townspeople and Tom try to fight it, and they all get beat up. What's Sasha doing? Sasha is alone in the room, and monsters coming at her. And so what does Sasha do? Runs up to a wall, and the monster is stupid enough that it tries to destroy the wall. Now somehow Sasha can hear Maddie's voice, and she runs around enough to distracting the monster, so now the townspeople and Tom can get up and defeat it. Then they ask her where she heard the voice. She shows them, and they say, well, she's probably in a room in that general area, so let's go through some rooms. Then they're sort of trapped, so then they go through down a hall into this one room. Then there's nowhere else to go. Sasha kind of doubting that ability to find out where Maddie is and thinking she's just gone crazy or something. Which makes a whole lot of sense considering that there are a whole bunch of monsters here. And bullshit. But then it was either Tom or Natalie who insisted, no, trust your instinct, trust that you know where she is. So Sasha suggests maybe she's through that wall, and they see, oh wait, no, that's just a trap door right there. Or they can just open it and go right through. It was a hidden door. They go through it and find 3 people there. Gallery host, Maddie, and some random guy. So with the help of the magic of the town, they freed them from their chains. But then it turns out that monster from earlier didn't get destroyed. Well, now they have to destroy it. So all the townspeople are attacking it, and as well as Sasha, and they don't seem to be doing any damage. Then Maddie looks at it and says, why don't you just hit it in its heart? They're like, we don't even know where its heart is. Maddie's like, maybe it's in that big lump on his shoulder or something. So Sasha tries it, and yeah, killed it. So they get run out of there, and they're all to be taken home. Natalie talks to them on the way home through the mountains and says, people aren't going to really believe you about this, so don't talk about it. Yeah. So Maddie and Sasha return to that hotel where the next day they're going to be going to the first round of competition or whatever. The next day, in the morning, the gallery host returns to that gallery, seeing it's empty for some reason. Just seems weird to him. That's the end of the first episode. I might change a whole bunch of things. I don't know what things, but that's all I have written of that series, Wind of the Mountains or Wind in the Mountains, whatever it is. I'll see you guys later and have a nice day. Really do hope you have a good day.